YouTube? I want to tell you a little story today about this guitar sitting over here on the stand. This is my 1967 Fender Duo Sonic. I picked it up about a month ago, I think. Maybe not right at, it's right at a month. It hasn't been very long. Purchased this fine instrument for $130. Just kind of want to tell you the story of it, how I got it, what happened. I feel very lucky to own it. So, a few weeks ago, a month ago or so, on a Monday, a friend of mine's girlfriend sent me a message on Facebook that there would be an estate sale coming up where there would be a 1976 Martin D35 and a 1976 Les Paul Custom, both up for sale at. She said that personal property doesn't usually go for very much, and that probably have a pretty good chance of buying them if I wanted to buy them. And I said, okay, when's this auction going to be? And she said it was going to be Saturday, so that was 6 days from the time that I found out about it. So that week I worked. I took extra everything I could get. Worked way more than I usually would. Stayed late, come in early, anything that I could squeeze in, and I saved every bit of the money that I could in the attempt to buy one of those two guitars that I've mentioned. After that week, Saturday morning, I get up. I knew that later that day, me and my wife had planned a trip to a local apple orchard farm. It's a nursery. They do lots of stuff there, but it's called Jackson's Orchard in Bowling Green, Kentucky. If you want to go look it up, get an idea of that. That's not that important, but I knew that trip was planned. There was a miscommunication with time, I think, and you'll see why. So, fast forward to Saturday morning of the sale. I get up 6:30, go grab coffee, get awake, get going. About 9:30, I head over to the auction. The auction was supposed to start at 10. They were going to be selling two houses in a empty lot, and then they would move to personal property. They didn't really mention how much personal property, but there was a lot at this particular estate sale. And so I went. When I parked, there was already a lot of cars there, and I walked up to the tent where they were having the sale at, and there was a ton of tables with stuff on it, but one particular table had about 15 or 20 people around it 30 to 45 minutes before the sale started. And I was like, I hope it's not the guitar table. It was the guitar table. All kinds of people. Some looked wealthy, some looked working class, but all of them had one thing in common. They all had their phones out. They were all doing serial number searches and checking out the guitars, the Martin and the Les Paul. And my spirits kind of fell right then, because I knew there probably wasn't gonna happen. There wasn't gonna be no way to make that happen. I had a limited budget with me. I had about $1,500 with me that I could spend, and I was hoping that would touch one of them. It would have touched neither. But as everybody is distracted by this Les Paul and this Martin, I noticed this lonely little guitar over on the table with a Fender decal on the headstock. And I've never done a lot of research into offset. I've never checked into Mustangs and Duosonics and Jaguars and Jag things. It's never been something that really interests me. I've always been a really Telecasters, but I like Strats too. So I get to looking around just to see if there's anything else maybe might be laying around, and I see it laying there, and I kind of pick it up and I flip it over, and I seen a serial number on a neck plate, and I would have disregarded that most likely if it had not been for 5 Watt World. So that Keith probably won't ever see this video, but big thank you to Keith at 5 Watt World, because something clicked in my head and I remembered Fender did serial numbers on the neck plates in the late 50s, early 60s, I think. That's what was in my head, I think, and I still think. I haven't even looked to confirm that, but so I noticed that, and I decided I'd like to maybe try to buy that if the money's right. I'll take a little gamble on it. Didn't really think I had time to do any research on it because the sale was getting ready to start by the time I had noticed this thing. And so the sale starts 10 o'clock sharp. I had never been to an estate sale where property was included. I've never been to an estate sale at all. But the interesting thing that I found about estate sales with property is, at this particular one anyway, I don't know if this is everywhere, but the while they're selling the houses, typically at an auction, anybody that's ever been to one, it's usually once it stalls on a number, they'll say going once, going twice. If nobody hits it, it's done. And this house was stuck on 160,000, then 161, and then 162, all the way up to like 169 for 25-30 minutes. And so they're going through this 10 o'clock, almost an hour later. It's 10:50. My phone rings. It's my wife. I answered. Hello. She said, where are you? I said, I'm at this auction. She said, you're supposed to be here at 11 o'clock. We need to leave at 11 o'clock. You should have been here. And I'm like, they haven't even got done with the houses yet. We're not even done with rental properties, or with property yet. We haven't made it to personal property. So I kind of got discouraged, and I looked around, and I seen a buddy of mine, somebody that I know pretty well. And he was kind of standing around. I went over and talked to him. I said, hey, what are you doing? What are you doing here? What are you looking at? And he wanted to buy a washing machine that was there. He had found out about. So are you going to be here when the guitars sell? He said, yeah, I'll probably be here. And I said, okay, well, if I give you a blank check, can you try to get one for me? I've got, I said, I guess I'll try to get that little Fender guitar on the table. I don't think I can get the Martin or the Les Paul. He said, yeah, no problem. So I tear him out a blank check out of my checkbook. I hand it to him, and then I take off. On the way out, he was asking me, there was also a silver-faced Fender Vibro Champ sitting on a table, and he was asking me on the way out. He said, what do you want to give? And I said, well, just call me whenever the auction starts, and I'll tell you where to stop at. He said, I know, but just for reference, like we're what's completely out of the money. And I said, well, anything under 500 on the guitar, I think I'll be okay with. It looks pretty old. I think it'll be fine. And the Vibro Champ, I said, it'd be great if it went for like 200 or 300, and then I laughed and walked away. We kind of giggled about it, and I get a text message 45 minutes later on the interstate. He says, you got the Mustang for $130, and I text him back. I was like, what Mustang are you talking? What are you talking about? He said, the Mustang, that Fender guitar, that's what they called it. Oh, okay, cool, $130, golden. And then I asked him how much the Vibro Champ went for, and he said it was $585, and I was like, bid, because I was fine with up to $1,000. I had the money, knowing I had a $1,500 budget, spent $130. I could have went pretty far on that Fender Vibro Champ. But he said, well, it's done sold. He didn't call me like I told him to. But so I got a little depressed about that. But the more I thought about it, I was like, this is a win. There's no way that this can go wrong. I had kind of did some brief Googling at the house when we were getting ready to leave about trying to figure out what it was, and I still never figured out what it was. That's why I was confused when he said Mustang. So yeah, I got back that night. I met him. I picked it up. I started exploring it a little bit. It's got a August 16th, 1966 neck date. It has 67. It had one 67 pot in it, two 67 pickup dates. Everything looks right on it. Fender didn't necessarily have dates all close together on every single guitar. My research tells me that's pretty common, that it's mostly original. The only reason I say mostly original is because the guy that had it bypassed the tone control, took out the capacitor, and had a little metal circle plate in it. The switches were very bad. And he had done some wiring modification, and I think in the process of wiring modification, he melted the internals of the switch because they were real stuck. And I ended up getting them working like the next day. I was able to play it. It had a couple saddles missing, or one missing, one was stripped out, and one was there. It had a broken tuner, two broken tuners. One had been replaced with an acoustic tuner. Thank God they didn't drill any new holes. But yeah, that's it. And my point to all this is, I've been playing guitar for almost 2 years now. It'll be, well, I started playing in March of 2021, um, which isn't that long ago. And I've loved vintage looking stuff since I got into guitar. Telecasters, and I buy Ventura Road Worn series Fender guitars. I've bought several of those and traded a couple away, and you know, just various things. Did some trading, did some whatever. And one night I was sitting around listening to Joe Bonamassa talk about his burst Lazarus, and somewhere in it he explained that these vintage guitars still are out there. They're not all spoken for, and you don't have to have, you know, exuberant amounts of money to get one. You know, if you look around and get a little lucky. And I thought that was the craziest thing that I'd ever heard anybody say at the time. Yeah, I mean, this isn't a crazy expensive guitar, and I'm not going to pretend that it is. It is pretty nice. The checking is very nice on it. Yeah, it's a 67 Fender guitar that sounds awesome. Matthew Scott explained that he had one of these exactly like it, actually white with the tortoise pick guard. He was explaining these Strats are basically like, or these pickups are like Stratocaster pickups. So you've got like a mini Strat, and I definitely get some Strat vibes from it. And then you got your out of phase. So yeah, that's the quick little sounds of it. I did full time-lapse videos of the entire restoration. Everything that I replaced is on TikTok, and the TikTok username is just a dude NKY, all one word, just no spaces, no underscores, nothing. Just a dude NKY. If you want to check that out, I would use those videos for a YouTube video, but I shot them the TikTok way up and down, and I didn't have two cameras to set up, and I posted some TikTok, a collage kind of, of this the night that I got it on TikTok, and it got an exuberant amount of views, like 50,000 views, which was a lot for TikTok for me. It's a lot for me anywhere. So if you want to check out that restoration process, feel free to hop over there and check it out. Yeah, the $130 Fender Duo Sonic, the 1967 Duo Sonic, $130. I think it's pretty awesome. Appreciate y'all watching, and I know this story was long. If you stuck with it, I appreciate it. I think it's interesting. I may do another video later talking about the history of the instrument, the owner, the family. I've done a lot of research. This was a local one owner, or at least one in one family. It possibly belonged to a younger brother and was given to an older brother, maybe. I know that's a little weird because usually it's older brother to younger brother. But yeah, we may go through that another day. But right now I'm gonna cut this off. I appreciate y'all watching, and you know, keep your hope, keep your faith, keep your hope up that maybe someday you can find something like this and get a good deal on it. I think it's still possible. They're definitely still out there. So thank y'all for watching.